Yeah, so to get into The Rock and Cody Rhodes, my goodness, guys. So The Rock is back, and again, I'm not going to get into my disdain for The Rock and disdain. It sounds crazy saying that, but you guys know if you know. Um, and when I say disdain, it's just because I feel like, long story short of it, if you haven't heard before, just so you don't want to assume knowledge, but I hate the feeling that The Rock is coming in, so we need to stop what we're doing and abide by The Rock, and things that have changed because of The Rock, like, and not even The Rock, just as himself, just anyone, period. Like, I just hate that connotation or that vibe where, like, you come in and the world stops because you're here. Like, no, like, we're all human, we all get dressed the same way, like, just because you make more money than someone else or you have more presence than someone else, like, and again, like, I get it too, right? Like, if you have The Rock and someone of that stature, you're gonna wanna present them because they do bring more business and more eyes and more revenue and all that shit, so, not stupid, right? Like, I get that, but I just hate the sense that the world is not revolving around him, but, like, the road to WrestleMania, we'll say, is solely depending on what he wants to do, and the storyline is depending on what he wants to do, and other storylines are based on what he's going to do. So, that's where my irritation comes from, is what I'll say. And that's as a well, I'm not gonna say behind the scenes, that's just a solely character disdain, right? And I don't know Dwayne the person, right? I wish I did. I think that'd be pretty cool. But if he could be showing up and be like, okay, like, where do you guys need me at? Like, 100% team player, right? But what we have seen, and even what he has said, like, it doesn't 100% seem to be that way. So just look at last year. He thought he was going to come in and just take Cody Rhodes' spot. He learned that that wasn't the case. So that's just where my irritation for The Rock comes from, right? Is he fucking all the things that he says he is, and all of the cliches, and yeah, of course, right? Like, he's The Rock. Like, and I don't even dislike The Rock. I think he's fucking great. But I just don't like how he's just so he just dominates, like, his aura is so massive that, like, everything else is based off of him. That's what irritates me personally. So getting that out of the way, and just kind of setting that out there, I I was just like, what the fuck are we watching? Like, what is he saying? He wants Cody's soul. So gonna get into that and read what exactly The Rock went through with Cody, because he went through about like 2, 3 different variations of characters as well too, right? Like, he started off, with, like, the corporate, like, the Dwayne Johnson, right? Then he went into kinda good guy Rock, and then bad guy Rock, and then now he's the final boss, right? So, a lot of different, I'll just say variations. I'll stick with variations from good old Rocky that we got on Friday as well. And I will give credit though, at least he tried to, and you could tell a factor with this segment, and something that they really wanted to accomplish or tried to accomplish, was correcting course for what happened on January 6th on Netflix. So, and I think that's still just so jarring and just so mind blowing that he really went out there, and him and Cody were BFFs, and just Cody's response more than anything else is still what bothers me the most from that episode, when Cody's just like slapping his leg like, "Oh, Rock, you're so funny, dude." Like, no, fuck that. Like, he tried to ruin your dreams, right? Like, he tried to be that guy and be that asshole to stop you from something that was rightfully yours, right? Like, it's not even that you were trying to take like a shady path, or you just so happened to be there. Like, no, like, you worked your ass off, you won the rumble, you did what you needed to do to solidify your spot, and now this dude wants to come in and take your spot. No, fuck that. So, and not to mention the beatdown that he gave him with the strap, Mama Rose, all of that. And now all of a sudden, the next time we see them, and okay, and before I even get to that, follow up on, and this is where I'll tie into kind of a little bit in a minute here, but after WrestleMania, after Cody won, The Rock and him had that segment where The Rock came out and, long story short, gave Cody something. right? Put something in Cody's hand. We don't know what it is. So I will give them benefit of the doubt in a sense, and I will let it play out that their friendship, in kind of like two parts, that their friendship was initiated and began off of whatever The Rock gave to Cody that night. And I think that really meant a lot to Cody, or that really was a driving force into a shift in their dynamic and their relationship with each other. And I think over the past year ish, less than a year, apparently they've obviously, according to Rock, have grown to become great friends. Their moms are great friends, right? Now they're sharing tequila together, which I'm not sure how what is American Wheatley or Wheatley Vodka would feel about Cody being all tequila heavy now, but whatever. That's I just always think about that. Like, really, like this dude literally has like Wheatley Vodka on his tour bus, and he's sitting there drinking Terramana tequila. Like I get it, but like, come on, bro. Like, at least be like, oh, I had my drink, you have yours. But like, come on. It just always stands out to me. But I so that's part one. I think the main thing with Cody is that, first of all, the fact that he was just so happy-go-lucky with The Rock, but I think I hate saying January 6th, but on the Netflix debut, I think that the main thing with that will tie this all together is Cody's response to The Rock at Elimination Chamber. I think Cody needs to take us back to the beatdown and back to the shit that The Rock put him through, the pain and the anguish that Cody felt and witnessed, that he felt obviously personally and physically, but that he witnessed with his mother, right? And the disrespect that The Rock showed towards his mother, and how you can just go from that to The Rock trying to prevent him from winning the championship, to the disrespect, all of it, right? And then fast forward to the Monday night on Raw, or yeah, Monday Night Raw after Mania. Whatever The Rock gave him, Cody needs to tie that into it and really emphasize how that made him feel, and how that changed all of that shit that The Rock did, and how they became friends, and how now they're BFFs essentially, apparently, and their moms are good friends, and now The Rock is at a point where he feels comfortable enough to come out here and pretty much just profess his love, or his want to love Cody, and say that he being The Rock wants Cody to become his champion. And the fact that Ari Emanuel is the owner of WWE, but he says, "Oh, Rock, you're really the owner of WWE." And no, stop it. No, you're the owner. No, stop it. You're the owner of this $10 billion company. Whatever it is, multi-billion dollar company between, TKO, obviously UFC and all that bullshit. But so we need to wrap up the Cody part. We need an explanation from Cody. We need for Cody to tie it all together and to really emphasize and make us understand why our number one good guy is now best friends with the guy who tried to do all these terrible things to him and his family. So that's part one. And I think also what is it's pretty obvious here is what The Rock is trying to do, right? It's to me it's not even, I don't understand like the outrage or like the questioning really, because to me it's again pretty obvious. Like The Rock wants Cody to become his champion, and Corporation 2.0 type shit, right? Which I think is fucking fascinating, and I wish we were maybe 2, 3-ish years into Cody's run as a champion, and I wish we were at the point where the fans were starting to boo Cody, and it was at that point where it made sense, because I feel like it would be so premature to pull the trigger on a Cody heel run. And I think that it could be like, I feel like all this could be fucking fantastic. Maybe even a year or two from now, depending on how long it takes for the fans to get tired of Cody. But I just think you have something so valuable and a babyface that is Cody Rhodes in every aspect of his babyface version, right? Like he is that babyface that's not supposed to work in 2025, right? Like 2024, 2025, like he is that clean cut, always wearing a suit, corporate guy, right? Corporate guy, but he is still a man of the people. He still makes you believe. he looks like if you were to walk into a Starbucks and see this guy, you would probably think like, "Oh god, like this guy probably is like pissed off that he has to wait. He's probably like, just thinking of how inconvenienced he is and like just assuming all the negative things, right? But he ends up being the nicest guy there, buys coffee for everyone, like tips all the baristas, right? Asks how everyone's day is going. Like he just turns out to be the nicest guy. So I think you take advantage of that for as long as you can. And then once you get to a point where people are tired of cheering him, like, okay, like you've already kissed my baby, like my baby is a preteen now or whatever, however long it is, you know what I mean? Like take advantage of it until you can't anymore. And then pull the trigger. Now I'm not saying like do it when it's like going downhill, but right when you get into the like m- right before you get to the top of the hill, like right when you're about to reach the top, that's when you pull the trigger and then you go from there. So I think what The Rock wants from Cody, how he wants him to be his champion, how he wants him to essentially sell his soul, do it, just not right now. Like go through everything. You still have so much story to tell. And I think this is just gonna be the seed for that Cody turn. I don't want to say years from now, but until that happens, right? And I think that we do end up getting another foil that steps in for The Rock and steps in to take that place that Cody doesn't want to take right now. And I think that's what's going to be the most intriguing. I don't know if that's going to be Roman Reigns, if that's going to be a John Cena, a CM Punk. Like, can you imagine if John Cena is like, "Oh, Cody doesn't want to be the Rock's champion, but I will." Like, what? And can you imagine if that actually happened and we finally got a John Cena heel turn in his last year? I think everyone would explode. I think the IWC would explode. I think everyone in the arena would explode. I just think like people would just lose their absolute minds. I don't think that's realistically gonna happen, but I think that would just be so fucking fun. Like, why not, man? And I know why not, but like again, like, oh, I just think if you could, man, like why not do it, man? But I'm not putting much into that at all. But I'm just saying that's a possibility, or just a small possibility, right? Logan Paul could be fun because imagine the Rock brought up the social media presence, right? The almost what did he say? Like half a billion followers that he has on Instagram. Who else has a lot of followers, right? Logan Paul. I don't know how many he has, but a shit ton, right? So if Cody Rhodes doesn't want to do that, Logan Paul damn sure would. I don't see Logan Paul turning that down at all. Is that the most exciting and the most main event worthy? No, but publicity wise, like that would get a lot of talks, like that would get a lot of like clicks, all that shit. So I wouldn't be 100% surprised if that happened, or slightly surprised if that happened. So yeah, CM Punk I think would be just fucking head turning and like whiplash inducing because if that were to happen to because you would think of what the history is between Punk and Rock. And the fact that Punk always got the short end of the stick whenever The Rock would come back, and The Rock is wanting someone to be his champion, and Cody doesn't want to do it. And this is the only way CM Punk is going to be able to main event WrestleMania and to really go after the championship is to align with The Rock. That would be just fucking insane. So I hope that doesn't happen. Uh, well, I don't even know. Like I say I hope that doesn't happen just because I don't want Punk to ever go corporate. I think that'd be just to his core as, like, who CM Punk the character is and, like, the dude himself, like, I just can never even imagine that, fake or not, like, like, story or not, like, I don't know how he would ever come back from that, like, that would just be I don't know. That would just be too much for me, I think. Um, so yeah, I think it's gonna be really interesting to see what they end up doing at the chamber and to see what their interaction looks like. I think it's gonna be pretty simple from Cody. He's gonna obviously reject The Rock. I think he missed out on an opportunity by saying, The Rock, you and I both know that I can't be your champion. I'm the people's champion. So I really hope he throws that in there because it'd be a nice little, nice little, I don't want to say slap in the face, but a nice little jab. D-Rock, I just see. Your comment right there, you said The Rock and Cody segment was definitely too long. Yeah, dude, I went to go back and rewatch that shit. 26 minutes. And that was including The Rock's original entrance, but I was like, yo, what the fuck? Like 26 minutes? Mm. But yeah, dudes, we will be wrapping up here shortly, but I'm going through the comments to see what you guys had to think about and everything and what you guys had to say about it. Yeah, so you say, whatever we say about Vince, he never teased the match that he didn't deliver. Rock and Cody has been built since last Mania. Changing it now isn't smart. Yeah, and that's what makes this even more intriguing too, because like if and when Cody turns down The Rock, does The Rock step in and just what does The Rock do? You know? So it's the chamber is really gonna set the stage for Mania and really answer a lot of questions, I feel. Exactly, Nick. Cody or corporate Cody could be an interesting character, but now's not the time. Nah, dude. And I just think they have like the logo, like the American Nightmare logo. Just like there's just so many fun things that they could do with this logo once they turn Cody bad. Like, oh, I think he would be such a good bad guy though. I can't wait for it, but I can and I can't wait for it. Is what I should say. Oh man. Mm, oh, the basketball randomly fell. There's fucking ghosts in here, guys. Shit was random as fuck. Scared my dog. Yes, Nick said he didn't mention anything about his son, only about needing a brother and becoming his champion. Wonder if Roman will be involved in the storyline. And that's why I think it really depends on what Cody's response is going to be and how and what Cody specifically says too because and I think the placement too like it to me it has to does this open the chamber? Does this is this like a midway point? Is this the main like it would be very odd for I guess maybe you could do it, but to me, it would be weird to do your entire card, have the chamber, everything be resolved, and then have The Rock and Cody come out afterwards. No, because to me, the chamber is going to really play into whatever is happening between The Rock and Cody as well. Maybe not, but that's just kind of my thoughts behind it. So I'm thinking it's either going to open the show or be like midway through. But again, like I don't even see The Rock staying there for the entire pay per view. You know, like I feel like it's probably going to open. Cody is going to decline to The Rock, and then whatever Cody specifically says, I feel like that's going to incite The Rock, and maybe he will because the Chamber is obviously going to be the main event. So if if The Rock or Cody turning down The Rock does play into the winner of the Chamber, you would think Rock would have some type of involvement with that and some hand in it. And that's why I was kinda going through some of the participants there, and Drew McIntyre too, for instance, right? Like, Drew who was he when he first came in? The Chosen One. So, I think you could really play into that as well, they already have history there. The Rock was the one who went and re-signed McIntyre and gave him a special sword. It gave him that fat contract. How long was that, a year ago at this point? So, I there's a lot of different possibilities, but the main question is too, is The Rock going to be wrestling this year? Or is it gonna be next year? And does The Rock plan on wrestling at all, period? I think that you can't just be doing all this to not have The Rock wrestle, period. I think that would just be kinda crazy, so it's just a matter of when that happens, and if that is gonna be this year too, like, does that fuck up shit for Cena, right? Was it supposed to be Cena versus Cody, and now that The Rock is back, and we could potentially be getting The Rock and Cody at Mania, where does that leave John Cena? So, there's just so many different variables at this point too, and I love it. I love it. I love it that we're not just like, "Oh, well, Cena's gonna win the chamber," and he very well most likely will, but there's I would be questioning and I would really be looking at all the odds and really be thinking about it before I put any money down because you can really it's with The Rock and again, like that's why the placement for all this really does matter, but I just really see this being addressed in the opening segment and then followed up with obviously with the chamber and the main event, but it's just going to be really interesting to see the what shakes out with The Rock because I think those are the big questions. If The Rock is going to be wrestling at Mania, if that's a yes, then okay, then that's gotta be against Cody, right, at this point, and if not against Cody, is it gonna be against Roman Reigns? But at this point, it doesn't even feel like it's gonna be against Roman this year because The Rock hasn't addressed Roman at all, and you would think that if The Rock had an issue, he would've addressed Roman, period, so there's just so much to it, so much. What up, Rude Dog? What up, bro? Cool to see you here, man. Cool to see you here, man. I love hearing your takes. You say live Ash out of nowhere. Speaking of, what about Randy Orton? Yes, that is a very good point, Rude Dog. Very good point as always. Rude Dog. Now you're referring to Rude Dog being the one that The Rock possibly could be aligning with. You know, if and when Cody turns it down. That not in I think Randy Orton, even if that's what you're referring to or not, but just Randy Orton, period. Randy Orton is another option and wild card out there too, right? The tie-ins with Randy Orton and The Rock being third generation superstars, the lineage, all that's their own bloodlines. That all that to the side. You don't even need the connection between The Rock and Randy Orton and Cody Rhodes because you already have it built in with Randy Orton and Cody Rhodes, period, right? Which we all know. I think that, and again, too, Randy Orton is really stingent on what happens with Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn because if the matchup we're getting between quote unquote matchup we're getting between Owens and Sami Zayn at Elimination Chamber isn't the resolution, which I don't think it will be. If they're planning on running that back at Mania, then that ties both of them up. But Randy Orton does have issues with Kevin Owens, right? So another logical opponent and matchup would be Randy Orton and Kevin Owens. But you could also flip that coin and say, well, yeah, technically Kevin Owens did all this shit and put Randy Orton out. But Randy Orton isn't a dumb guy. He's a Viper for a reason, right? Like he sees things from different perspectives. So he can actually end up appreciating what Kevin Owens did and being like, yo, like everything that Kevin Owens has been saying is right. Taking it back to Elias, okay? Kevin Owens has been right about damn near everything that we can recall. So Randy Orton could be out this entire time and be like, yo, and be watching everything from the sideline and being like, "Yo, Kevin's right. Fuck Cody Rhodes." Like Cody Rhodes is the issue for all of his problems. Cody Rhodes is the reason Cody Rhodes has problems, right? Cody didn't need to tag with Roman. He did not need to interject himself in the bloodline. He should have won his championship and been done with Roman Reigns, been done with the bloodline, moved on to bigger and better things. And when Roman came back and needed help, he should have been like, "Nah, kick rocks, bro. Like, I'm good. Thank you. Respectfully, I'm good." You know what I mean? Like, no. Like, if you want a rematch, maybe, but I'm not teaming with you. I'm not helping your family out. Bada boom. Maybe if you want to entertain Cody being friends with Jay, that's one thing, but definitely not Roman Reigns. So I feel like Cody really shot himself in the foot, character wise, of course, by teaming up with Roman. And I think that is really going to be the downfall for him with a lot of different angles of and different spin-offs of that decision and versions and different. I think I think that Cody's like that issue is going to be the common denominator for different feuds that Cody has, but it's going to be for different reasons for different people, right? In different ways it impacted them. It impacted Kevin Owens in one way, but it pissed Randy Orton off in a different way, right? So I think that that is going to be a story that we get long term. But it just I don't see Randy Orton and Cody Rhodes at Mania right now. I feel like that would be possibly like a SummerSlam thing if Cody Rhodes can make it out of Mania, right? As champion, which I was about to say I'm sure he will, but who the fuck knows? Because who knows who he's gonna face again. So we'll see, man.